Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to build some simple organic molecules using ADFInput. So first, let's start with having ADF jobs open, and then you can go up here to SCM and open a new input. It takes a few seconds for it to come up. Alright, so you'll notice down here along the bottom of ADFInput we have a few commonly used atoms we can quickly select from. So down here is carbon, so let's start by building cyclohexane. So if we have the carbon tool selected, we can click on the screen and that'll set a single carbon atom, and then if we click again we get another one, and so let's make a simple hexagon. There we go. And now we can finish up the cyclohexane carbon backbone by clicking the first carbon we started with. Alright, there we go. Now if you click anywhere else on the screen, you will unselect that one carbon. And now let's quickly go over how to manipulate the structure using the mouse. So if you use right click, you can slide the molecule around in the plane. If you left click, you get to rotate it around and view it from a bunch of different angles. If you hold Control and left click, it'll rotate but just in the plane. And then finally, if you use the mouse wheel, you can zoom in or zoom out. Okay, so let's start adding hydrogens to our cyclohexane. So we could start by selecting one of these carbons, go down here to the hydrogen tool, and click like that, and we could slowly add all 12 hydrogens to this cyclohexane doing it that way. But that's pretty tedious. Thankfully, we can go up here to Atoms and select to add hydrogens. And there we go. It's added hydrogens to all the unsaturated carbons. Now, if we want to clean up this structure a little bit, what we can do is go down here and click on this little cog wheel. This is the pre-optimizer. This is really important to use if you plan to do any kinds of geometry optimization calculations, because it's always good to start with a pretty close guess of what the true structure is going to end up being. Okay, so you'll notice it made it flat, like it didn't give us the boat or the chair configuration, so sometimes it's good to give the pre-optimizer a nudge in the right direction. So if I hold down Shift, as I click multiple atoms, it'll select them all, and then I can use right click and slide this guy a little bit up. And let's see what that perturbation does to the optimization. There we go. And so now we have a nice chair configuration of cyclohexane. Alright, now let's make methyl cyclohexane. So I'm going to start by selecting one of these hydrogens. Let's make axial methyl cyclohexane. And so with this hydrogen selected, I can right click on it, but instead of holding it to move it around, I just click it once. And it gives me all these different options. I can select all the hydrogens, I can do a bunch of different stuff. I'm not going to go over all this. We're going to go down here to change atom type, and I can select carbon from the periodic table, and there we go. And now I can once again add hydrogens. This time I'm just going to do Control H. It would be Command H if you're using a Mac. Alright, and now we can pre-optimize this, and there we go. Methyl cyclohexane. Alright, now I'm going to delete this, because I want to show you guys how to use pre-built structures to build up a lot of these organic molecules really quickly. So if we go down here, you'll notice there's this structure tool. And so first I'm going to show you a couple of pre-made structures you can add to ADF. These are things I've added before. They're not really important for this. Up at the top of this list, there are a bunch of different things we can choose from. Amino acids, aromatic compounds. We want cyclic hydrocarbons. So we'll click that. And now go down here, again, to cyclohexane. Alright, there we go. Now you'll notice that almost all the carbons are saturated except for this guy right here. And that's the way all these structures usually work. So if we go back again, let's say we want to make tert-butyl cyclohexane. So we just go to alkyl chains at the very top, and we select tert-butyl. And then click, and there we go. Now I added in kind of an awkward location, so we can use pre-optimizer, and there we go, it'll move those out of there pretty quickly. And we have a great structure that we could then go on and do a full geometry optimization or a bunch of different calculations on. Alright, so let's delete this again, hit Control H to add hydrogens. Alright, so we're back to regular cyclohexane. Let's say we wanted to make cis axial 1,3-dimethyl cyclohexane. So essentially, putting methyls on these two hydrogen locations. So first, let's select these hydrogens. So click the first one, hold Shift, click the one on the 3 position, and now we'll right-click, replace by structure all the way down here at the bottom, alkyl chains, and let's replace them with a methyl. And there we go. We just made axial cis 1,3-dimethyl cyclohexane. You can use the pre-optimizer and it'll kind of wiggle the groups out of the way of each other a little bit. And there we go. So, that's essentially how to build up simple molecules using ADF.